Okay, so today we are learning more about adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers using two color counters. So you see that there's a yellow side and a red side. So the yellow reflects as a positive number, and then red reflects as a negative number. And they each count as 1 unit. So if I have one yellow, that's positive 1. One red's negative 1. So they cancel each other out since they're opposites, because remember, if we add the opposite, our sum is 0. So if I have one negative and one yellow, my sum would be 0. So let's think about if I have an expression of 6 plus negative 3. So I would need 6 yellow and then 3 red. So when I add, I combine them all together, and then I know one yellow, one red is a 0 pair. That's what we call those. So a negative 1 plus a positive 1 is 0, so I can get rid of that. Same thing here and here. So that means 6 plus negative 3 is positive 3. Okay, another example would be, let's do 5 plus negative 6. So I need 5 yellow, need 6 red, and then I can combine those together to add. Combine my 0 pairs. So that leaves me with one negative. So that means 5 plus negative 6 is negative 1. So if we compare that back to the number lines, see that from 0 to positive 5, and we know if we're adding, but we're adding a negative, so we're moving to the left 6 units. So there's 5, 6, and we would still land at negative 1. Okay, let's do negative 3 plus negative 4. 3 red and 4 red. And we're adding, so we can just combine those. No 0 pairs, so you can just count them. So we have 7, so that means negative 3 plus negative 4 is negative 7. Okay, let's try subtraction. So 6 minus negative 3. So we need 6 yellow. And it says we need to take out negative 3. So we don't have any negatives to take away, but we can add 0 pairs. So if I add a negative, I need to add a positive. And this still equals 6 because this is a 0 pair. So it didn't change the value. So same thing if I add another 0 pair. When I remove those, I still have 6 positive. So this still represents a positive 6. And then same thing here. So I now have 9 positives and 3 negatives, but these make 0 pairs, so this did not change the value of my positive 6. However, now I can take away 3 negatives. So when I take these 3 negatives away, I'm left with positive 9. So if you remember to rewrite subtraction as addition, first number stays the same. It's keep, change, change. So we keep the first number, we change to addition, which the inverse of subtraction is addition, and then we must change to the opposite. So the opposite of negative 3 is positive 3, and we know that 6 plus 3 equals 9. Okay, so let's do another example. Let's do -3 minus -4. So we start with 3 negatives. And I need to take away 4 negatives. But I only have 3, so I can't remove 4. So I need to add a 0 pair. Now I have 4 negatives to take away. So I can do that. And I'm left with +1. So that means -3 minus -4 is +1. Again, keep change. So I keep that the same. Change to the inverse, which is addition. And change to the opposite, which is +4. -3 plus +4. Zero to -3. And then I need to go to the right 4 units. So there's 3, 4 units. And I land at +1. So this is not anything new. It's just giving you a new way to look at problems. So now let's do -8 minus 4. So I need to start with 8 red. Now I need to take away 4 yellow because this is a +4. I don't have 4 yellow to take away, so what do I need to add? 0 pairs. So here's a 0 pair. There's a 0 pair. Still don't have 4 positives to take away, so I need more 0 pairs. And now I have 4 positives that I can take away, yet the value's not changed because these are all 0 pairs. So when I remove the 4 positives, I'm left with 12 red, which means my answer is -12. So again, change to addition, -8 plus the opposite of +4 is -4. And we know when we add 2 positives, that means we're just moving further to the left. So if we're already at -8 on a number line, and we add, we would be moving to the right, but since we're adding a negative, we now move to the left 4 units, which puts us at -12. So same, when we're adding, if the same sign, so a negative plus a negative plus a negative is going to equal a negative. A positive number plus a positive number is going to equal a positive number. What if I have a negative plus a positive? Then that would depend on my number. If my negative is larger than my positive, then my answer will be negative. So that means like a -5 plus +4. Well, since I'm 5 units in the negative and I move 4 units to the right, I would still be in the negative, so my answer would be negative. However, if my negative is smaller than my positive, then my answer would be positive. So same sign, keep the sign. If they're different, you're going to keep the sign of the larger number. And when I say larger, it's the larger absolute value. So obviously if I had -8 plus +4, 4 is a larger number because it's further to the right on the number line. But when I look at the absolute value of these, which is just distance from 0, -8 is 8 units from 0. +4 is 4 units from 0. Therefore, 8's the larger number, so when I add these, my answer would be negative. So let's do another equation with the unit counters. negative 8 minus negative 2. So I start out with 8 red. Now this time I need to take away 2 negatives. Do I need to add any 0 pairs? No, because I do have 2 negatives I can take away. So when I remove these 2 negatives, that leaves me with negative 6. So that means negative 8 minus negative 2 is negative 6. So remember, red is negative, yellow is positive, and when I have one of each, that creates a 0 pair, so this holds no value because they cancel each other out. So if I have more yellow than red, then, and I'm adding these, then that means my answer is going to be positive. If I have more red than yellow, then once I remove my 0 pairs, I'm left with a negative answer. So it's important to notice the size of the circles. So for example, negative plus negative is just going to be a larger negative. I know it's kind of hard to see with the glare. So a negative and positive. So if you notice that the negative is smaller than the positive, that means that your answer will be a positive number, but that number will be smaller than the number you're adding. And then vice versa here. So if your negative is larger than your, and when I say larger, remember it means the absolute value. So if the absolute value of your negative number is larger than the positive absolute value, then your answer will be a negative number. And then of course, positive plus positive is a larger positive. And this is the same thing as the bottom. They just switched places. So if you see this, these two are the same. They just switched the places.